We have installed 5,600 megawatts of renewable energy systems on our network. And that's against an overall network capacity of around 14,000 megawatts. So it's become a significant energy resource. When customer demand warrants, it's time to go build a new power resource somewhere. And it's usually in a remote area. It's not often in urban centers where people live. Transmission becomes very important. You locate whatever the resource is, construct that, expand your transmission system to gather that energy and move it onto the larger transmission system and get that power to where people live. Expansion of the transmission system is now an important consideration both for reliability and for wholesale trading of electricity.
There is no decarbonization without reliability. It simply won't happen. We lost power for 6 days. I mean, without power, we go back a few decades, more than that, a few centuries, and you really feel it. So you've heard of brownouts or blackouts. I mean, that happens when the grid becomes unstable and the frequencies dip too much or they climb too high. Now, historically, rotating machines, so think of like a combustion turbine or a rotating engine, you have an inertia in the rotating machinery of that. So if there is some sort of hiccup on the grid, there's kind of an implicit ride-through that rotating mass. And when you have a bunch of them, there's a lot of inertia. That's a challenge as we go away from those types of generators and we go towards things like solar panels. There's no rotating mass there.
Renewables tend to be what are called intermittent. When you run a gas plant or coal plant, it just runs flat and it's called base load. It's just a big block of power, right? And wind and solar, wind kind of goes with the wind and solar only operates when the sun's up. It's intermittent. And so what do you do when it's not operating? And that's where energy storage and batteries come into play. That's becoming a bigger and bigger part of integrating the intermittent renewables with the energy storage batteries so you can get that baseload power and provide as much power and as much as we need. That combination of the renewables with the energy storage batteries is going to be extremely powerful and going to be critically important for us to meet our greenhouse gas emission goals.
Energy storage systems, both chemical batteries, hydroelectric pump storage, and other technologies are going to be increasingly important as this transition continues.
Storage is the hot item for the next few years. Here in Oregon, we can produce as much renewable energy as we want, but we run into the issues of transmission and of storage, being able to both get that energy to the people who need it and then being able to get it to them at the time of day when they need it.
Batteries are just accelerating in terms of how good they are, how long they last, and declining in cost. Our solar panels can trickle feed during the day when we're not there, and then we'll use that battery power to do our computers and our TVs and our heating systems during the night. I'm super hopeful about that in terms of where the future's headed.